Hi everyone, my name is Priggya Arora, an engineer turned intellectual property lawyer. Welcome to Patent Agent Examination Preparation Series. Till now, we have covered filing of the patent application and publication. Today, we'll study about post-dating and antedating of patent application. This again is important for the perspective of objective questions because I think in my interview, the examiner asked me what is antedating, or I have heard from people examining asking what is antedating, what is post-dating. This would be a very short video because we'll study one or two sections in detail. But because you should know about these provisions, we are covering this in the syllabus. So here comes post-dating and antedating of patent application. So section 11 says priority dates of claims of a patent specification. So what does this section do? This section just uses the term post-dating and antedating. It does not explain the term. The explanation is in other sections, which we'll study just now. So section 11 says the reference to the date of filing of the application or of complete specification in this section shall, in cases where there has been post-dating under section 9 or section 17, or as the case may be, an antedating under section 16, be a reference to the date as so post-dated or antedated. So because it should be clear from the term post-dating and antedating itself that either we are post-dating the priority date or we are antedating the priority date. So whenever there is a shift in priority date, the term post-dating and antedating are used. For post-dating, we have section 9.3, 9.4, section 15 and section 17. The most important provision here is section 17. And as in antedating, I explained you while teaching the divisional applications, and the most important section here is section 16. So let us go through the act as well. And we'll start with section 17 because section 17 is related to post-dating of patent application. So section 17, power of controller to make order respecting dating of application, subject to provisions of section 9 at any time after filing of an application and before grant of the patent under this act, the controller may, at request of the applicant, made in prescribed manner, direct that the application shall be post-dated to such date as may be prescribed in the request and proceed with application accordingly. So whenever we have to file a request for post-dating, we should file under section 17. And who can file? The applicant can file this request, and based on that request only, the examiner will post date the application. So post date means it will shift the priority date of your application, provided that no application shall be post-dated under this subsection to a date later than 6 months from date on which it was actually made. So if you have filed your application on a specific date, by what time you can shift the priority date? You can shift the priority date by 6 months. You would not be able to shift it any further. Then we have where an application or specification or any document is required to be amended under section 15. The application or specification or other document, if controller so directs, be deemed to have been made on the date on which the requirement is complied with, or where the applicant or application or specification or other document is returned to the applicant on the date on which it is refiled after complying with the requirement. So what does this section mean? So if you go through section 15, you'll know that, for example, you have filed your patent application today, and there was some error, like maybe the application was not clear, the applicant name was not clear, and because of that the examiner did not consider it for filing, and it says till the time you made these amendments in the application, or you comply with these requirements, till then we'll not consider your requirement, your application. So the day on which you change that document, you correct that document and then submit again at the patent office, the date of filing will be considered as that date. So that this section also comes under post dating. Now, for post dating, like we studied that an application can be post dated for a period of 6 months, but it cannot be extended any further. So to give you a scenario, which I think this scenario is mainly asked in exams as well. For example, you filed your provisional application on 1st April 2023. Now, ideally, you have to file your complete application by 1st April 2024. Now, for example, on 1st April 2024, you have not filed your complete application. Then what is the provision? What can you do? You can post date your application by a period of 6 months, and you can shift your priority date for a period of 6 months. So that will buy you an additional 6 months of time to file a complete application. But your date of priority will get shifted. Your date of priority will not be the same. It will also get shifted. So that's why we have a provision of post dating the application, but I think this provision should be used in special circumstances only. It should not be a routine to post date the application and get 6 months of extended time. Why? Because the priority date will also get shifted, and whenever the examination will happen, the prior or till that date would be considered. So it's better to not shift the priority date, but still we have this provision where the priority date can be shifted. So now let's come to anti-dating. The main important provision related to anti-dating is section 16. So in section 16, we have already studied that this section pertains to divisional application. Now post-dating means you are shifting your priority date to a further date. What is anti-dating? Anti-dating is you have filed your application today, but you are using priority date of some other application, which is prior to today's date. So because it is prior to today's date, it is called as anti-dating. So whenever you file a divisional application in that date, the date of first mentioned application would be considered as your priority date. That is why it is called as anti-dating. And relevant text that you need to read from section 16 is: a person who has made an application for a patent under this act may at any time before grant of patent, if he so desires, or with a view to remedy the objection raised by the controller on ground that the claims of complete specification relate to more than one invention, file a further application in respect of an application disclosed in provisional or complete specification as already filed in respect of first mentioned application. So you have an application, you are dividing that application into two. You can do it yourself, or the controller can ask you to do it, because your invention might not be related to single inventive concept. So for that we have divisional application, but in the explanation it is written about the date, and which is for the purpose of this act, the further application, which is after dividing your further application means the second application that is formed after dividing your previous application. The further application and complete specification accompanying it shall be deemed to have been filed on the date on which first mentioned application had been filed. So what will patent have? Even if you are dividing the application at a later date, the patent office will consider that you have filed your application on the first date of filing of the first mentioned application. That's why it is called as anti-dating. You are shifting the date to a prior application date. And further application shall be proceeded with a substantive application and be examined when request for examination is filed within the prescribed period. So there has to be a request for examination, then only the examination will happen. But because we are claiming the priority date from the first mentioned application, it is called as anti-dating. To give you an example of anti-dating, So, for example, you have filed your patent application today, which is 1st April 2023. And it's been 1 year, and the date today is 1st April 2024. Now, on 1st April 2024, you are dividing your application into two application. One application is the application which is your original application. Other application is a second application which is derived from this application. So the date of filing of the second application would be 1st April 2024. But according to provisions of anti-dating, the patent office will consider as if your second application was also filed on 1st April 2023. They'll not consider that it is filed on 1st April 2024. They'll consider that it is filed on 1st April 2023 because your original application was filed on that date. Because of that, this is called as anti-dating. I am claiming a date from a prior date. So this was related to the provisions of post-dating and anti-dating. Anti-dating is something where we are shifting the date of filing to a prior date. Post-dating is we are shifting the date of filing to a later date. These are just concept based things, but these are again important for the purpose of objective questions. So you should go through these provisions once. If you have any questions, feel free to message me and I'll get back to you. Thank you.